In the early 20th century, mankind achieved something extraordinary. Ships had grown larger, faster, and more luxurious than ever before, and among them one name rose above all others: RMS Titanic. She was the pride of the White Star Line, hailed as the largest moving object ever built by human hands. At 882 feet long and 92 feet wide, Titanic wasn't just a ship, she was a floating palace. Built in Belfast, Northern Ireland, her construction employed thousands of workers and took more than 2 years to complete. Inside, Titanic embodied luxury and modern innovation. First-class passengers enjoyed lavish dining halls, a swimming pool, Turkish baths, squash courts, and opulent suites fitted with the latest comforts. For the wealthy elite of Europe and America, Titanic wasn't simply transportation. It was a statement of power, status, and progress. But Titanic was more than luxury. She was also a marvel of engineering, fitted with the latest safety technology of her time. With 16 watertight compartments and remotely operated watertight doors, she was described as practically unsinkable. Newspapers echoed this belief, and many passengers truly felt they were boarding a ship that nothing in the world could harm. On April 10, 1912, Titanic departed from Southampton, England, on her maiden voyage to New York City. The excitement was immense. Over 2,200 people were on board: wealthy businessmen, families seeking a better future in America, and crew members who kept the great ship alive. Among them were some of the richest men of the era, including John Jacob Astor IV and Benjamin Guggenheim. But the majority of passengers were immigrants in third class, hopeful for new opportunities across the Atlantic. Titanic first stopped at Cherbourg, France, and then Queenstown, Ireland, before finally heading into the open Atlantic. For several days, everything went smoothly. The weather was calm, the sea like glass, and passengers enjoyed the comforts of this magnificent vessel. But hidden beneath the still waters lay danger. Warnings of icebergs had been sent from other ships in the area. Multiple wireless messages reached Titanic, but many were ignored or not treated as urgent. After all, this was the unsinkable ship. What real danger could a chunk of ice pose? On the night of April 14th, Titanic pressed ahead at nearly full speed, 22 knots despite the warnings. The stars shone brightly, but there was no moon, making icebergs harder to spot. The sea was unusually calm, with little wave break to reveal obstacles. Lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee kept their eyes on the dark horizon. At 11:40 p.m., Fleet rang the warning bell and shouted, "Iceberg, right ahead!" The helmsman reacted quickly, turning the wheel. Titanic began to swing, but it was too late. The iceberg struck her starboard side, ripping open the hull below the waterline. The blow was fatal, not because of one long gash, but because the iceberg's jagged edges punctured multiple compartments. Water began flooding in at an alarming rate. Captain Edward Smith, one of the most experienced seamen of his time, quickly realized the seriousness of the situation. Titanic could stay afloat with 4 flooded compartments, but 6 had been compromised. The unsinkable ship was doomed. At first, many passengers refused to believe the danger. The impact had been surprisingly gentle, barely felt in the first-class cabins. But below deck, water poured in. The order was given to uncover the lifeboats. Panic slowly began to spread. Here lay another tragedy. Titanic carried only 20 lifeboats, enough for barely half the people on board. Regulations at the time required lifeboats based on ship tonnage, not passenger capacity. The owners believed lifeboats were unnecessary for everyone, since Titanic was thought to be invincible. A planned lifeboat drill had even been cancelled on the very morning of the disaster. When the evacuation began, confusion reigned. Many lifeboats were launched half-empty. First-class passengers were given priority, while third-class passengers struggled to even reach the upper decks, blocked by barriers and lost in the ship's maze-like corridors. Heroism and cowardice both played out that night. Some men disguised themselves as women to secure a seat. Others, like Benjamin Guggenheim, refused to save themselves, choosing instead to face death with dignity. As the bow sank deeper into the icy Atlantic, distress rockets lit the night sky. The band, led by Wallace Hartley, played music on deck to calm the passengers. Survivors later recalled their final song as "Nearer, My God, to Thee." By 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, 1912, Titanic's lights flickered once and went out. The great ship broke apart and slipped beneath the ocean, taking over 1,500 souls with her. Only about 700 survived, rescued hours later by the RMS Carpathia. The world was stunned. The greatest ship ever built lost on her first voyage. The disaster exposed human arrogance, poor safety regulations, and the illusion of invincibility. In the aftermath, inquiries in both Britain and the United States demanded changes. Lifeboats became mandatory for all passengers, 24-hour radio communication was enforced, and international ice patrols were established to monitor dangerous waters. Titanic's legacy reshaped maritime law forever. Yet more than a century later, Titanic still captures our imagination. Her story is not just one of tragedy, but also of bravery, sacrifice, and lessons learned at a terrible cost. She remains a timeless reminder of both the heights of human achievement and the consequences of human pride.